Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking something that usually feels like a dry, boring grammar rule and transforming it into your personal time machine and honestly, a bit of a conversational superpower. If you've ever felt like your English sounds a little too stiff or demanding when you're talking about the future, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the future continuous tense so you can start using it with absolute confidence.
So here's our game plan. First up, we'll talk about picturing the future. Then, we'll break down the core formula, look at complex future actions, and finally, unlock that politeness superpower.
All right, let's jump right into section 1, picturing the future. We're going to start with some mental time travel.
To really get the hang of this tense, you have to completely shift your perspective. Think of the future continuous as a literal time machine. When you use it, you're mentally teleporting yourself forward in time, and you're just looking around at an action that is already happening right in that exact moment. The action you're talking about, it started before you got there, and it's going to keep happening after. You are dropping right into the middle of the scene.
Let me give you an example. Say you tell me at 8 p.m. tonight I'll be watching my favorite TV show. You aren't just turning the TV on right at 8 o'clock. Nope, you are already mid-action when the clock strikes 8. You probably started watching at, say, 7:59, and you'll keep watching at 8:01 and beyond. You're just giving us a quick little snapshot of that specific 8 p.m. moment.
Moving right along to section 2, the core formula, and exactly how we build this tense.
Now, what I absolutely love about this tense is how incredibly consistent the math is. Seriously, once you nail this rule, there are virtually no surprises. It always takes 3 simple parts, and this goes for literally every subject. I, you, he, she, they, all of them. Step 1, your subject. Step 2, the words will be. And step 3, your main verb just ending in ing. Mash those together, and you get incredibly smooth sentences like, she will be sleeping, or they will be driving to New York.
And tweaking this formula is a total breeze. Need it to be negative? Just slap a not or won't right after the subject. Like, I won't be attending. Super simple. What if you want to ask a question? Just grab that word will, pick it up, and drop it at the very front of the sentence. Will she be joining us? It's really just moving puzzle pieces around.
Quick side note here, kind of like an insider tip on phrasing. You can absolutely swap out will be for am going to be, and it doesn't change the meaning of your sentence one bit. I am going to be watching TV means the exact same thing as I will be watching TV. But did you catch how will be sounds just a bit smoother? It's way more common in everyday native speech simply because it's shorter and rolls off the tongue a lot easier.
All right, stepping it up a notch with section 3, complex future actions. This is where we handle interrupted and parallel events.
Because let's face it, real life is rarely just one simple action. We use this tense all the time to set the scene for a long, drawn-out action that suddenly gets interrupted by something shorter. Imagine you're right in the middle of doing something in the future, and boom, something else happens.
Now pay attention, because this right here is the absolute golden rule for building these interrupted sentences. That short, interrupting action, it literally must be in the present simple tense, never the future. So you'd say, I will be waiting for you when your train arrives. You would never say, when your train will arrive. Even though the train is showing up in the future, the grammar rules strictly demand present simple for that interruption.
But what about parallel actions? You know, when you've got 2 long things happening at the exact same time in the future. To link these together, we just use the magic word while. For instance, tonight I will be studying while my brother. Well, let's actually look at how to finish that sentence because there's a really cool trick to making this sound completely native. So you actually have 2 options here. You could say, I will be studying while my brother will be playing video games. Technically, grammatically fine. But check out option 2. I will be studying while my brother is playing video games. Both work, but using the present continuous for that second action, is playing, that is the secret to sounding incredibly natural in advanced speech. It stops the sentence from feeling clunky and overly repetitive with too many will-bes.
Which brings us perfectly to section 4, the politeness superpower. This is where grammar basically turns into psychology. It's fascinating. Look at the difference here. If you ask someone, will you go to the supermarket? I mean, it can sound pretty direct, right? Almost like a command or a slightly pushy demand. But if you want to ask a favor without sounding like a bossy drill sergeant, the future continuous is your secret weapon. By asking, will you be going to the supermarket, you instantly soften the tone. It makes it a casual inquiry, which totally paves the way for you to politely slide in with, hey, if so, could you grab some milk?
So why exactly does it sound so much softer? It's because you're framing the action as a matter of course effect. You're not demanding they go out of their way to make a plan for you. You're simply acknowledging a totally normal, expected routine that they probably already have, and you're just casually asking about it. You completely remove all the pressure.
You will hear native speakers use this matter-of-course trick constantly for expected routines. If you say, "I'll be seeing John at work tomorrow," it means you didn't specifically schedule a meeting with John. But hey, you both work in the same office, so it's just naturally going to happen. Or for a broader example, the government will be raising taxes again next year. Nobody booked a meeting for that. It's just the inevitable, expected reality of the situation.
Okay, time to lock all this in. Let's do a super quick practice exercise. I want you to mentally fill in these 3 blanks using that core formula we talked about before I revealed the answers. Remember your subject, remember your helping verbs, and don't forget that ing ending.
All right, moment of truth. Let's see how you did. If you got will be studying, won't be flying, and will be waiting, huge congratulations. You've officially mastered the mechanics of grammatical time travel. You can now reliably project yourself into the future and describe exactly what is happening in that very moment.
So, now that you know how to perfectly paint a picture of the future, handle those tricky interrupted actions, and ask for favors with flawless social grace, the real test begins. How will you be using this superpower next? The next time you need a tiny favor from a coworker, remember that polite inquiry. Keep practicing, and I will be seeing you in the next explainer.